and welcome to the Design Review Board meeting of Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. First thing I'd like to do is call the meeting to order and ask that you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, I'd like to introduce to all of you our staff and team and our board.
Shubha Jangam, Senior Planner.
Robin McDonald, zoning manager.
Reed Casey, Bethany Road.
Doug Haney, Bethany Way.
Charlie Roberts, Freemanville Road.
Ken Warlick, Kipworth Road.
Casey Robinson, Bethany Bend.
All right, with that done, I'd like to get an approval of the agenda, but I'd like to make one comment before we approve tonight's agenda. I'd like to ask, with a big agenda tonight, a lot of people, that the applicant and any opposition limit their discussion to 3 minutes, and then we'll close the public hearing and the board can have all its discussion with you as the board sees fit. So there will be a 3-minute limit by the applicant and any opposition. And with that done, then I would ask, can the board approve our agenda tonight?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda tonight.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, I'd like to get approval of the meeting minutes of last month's meeting, March 7th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the Tuesday, March 7th Design Review Board meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, as we move into our various sections tonight, the first section is demolition of structures. We have one demolition on our agenda tonight, item 5A. Could the applicant come up? And before you speak, on the agenda item, there are two addresses, 75-247 and 15-247. And I think the correct address is 75-247. Is that correct?
I believe it's a 1. They just,
Just an extra line up top,
with an emphasis.
unfortunate typo.
Okay, so why don't you just tell us your name and the exact address of this application?
Okay, my name is Gustavo Perdigon, and I'm looking for get approved to demolition the structure and the 16 house and the current address, 15247 Thompson Road.
All right, over here on the tax plat, I
Yeah.
think it says a different address. Let me go ahead and just get this cleared up once and for all.
It's
Shubha, have you got an address?
Yeah.
Looks like it's all 15247. It's just whoever wrote it has some funny handwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the parcel ID is correct for this address.
So it is 15-247.
Yes.
Okay, we got that in the record correctly. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Okay, we planning to build a new build in this lot. And we have a 16 house and 1, 2, 3, and 4 different structures. According with the photos that I don't know if you have in front of you, it's just storage and a carport. And the property in, I don't know, pretty much it.
Okay, pretty much it. You're my favorite.
Yeah.
That's under 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Do we have any opposition to this case?
No.
Hearing no opposition, I'll close the public hearing and ask the board for discussion. Hearing,
Make sure that you're everything that you want demoed on the property is in this permit, correct?
Yes.
hearing no other discussion?
No, sir.
Okay,
All right.
can I get a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the demo of the structures located on 15247 Thompson Road.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Tear it down and get going with something new.
What's that?
All right, our next case, and we move now to courtesy reviews. We do not vote on these, but we recommend to BZA or to Planning Commission our thoughts as it pertains to the Design Review Board and our expertise. So we will be making recommendations and sending those to BZA. First item under courtesy reviews is item 6A, 3100 Heritage Walk, Suite 301. Applicant here?
The applicant is here. I just want to have a little bit of a preface that why this is back before you. There was an incorrect address for the building. And so after further talking to our city attorney, it had previously been 3000 Heritage Walk when it came before you before, and it needed to be corrected to 3100. And it needed to start way all over again through the process. So that's why we're here tonight.
But nothing else has changed other than the address?
Nothing other than address is changed.
Correct, yes, yeah. I mean, I will say that since that time, Ms. Chandler has found out that Fulton County Schools will not allow her to park there if there's alcohol involved with the events. So that is something that has changed since the last time, but Mr. Chandler can speak to how they're resolving parking issues. They still have the other plans in place for parking, so.
All right, we've heard this before. Go ahead and introduce yourself and get on the
My name is
record.
Craig Chandler. My wife and I, Lisa, are trying to open an event venue, so we need a special use permit for an assembly hall. We apologize for taking up your time again with the error in the address, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
And I can read what my summary was from the previous meeting if you would like, because there were only 4 board members here.
Yeah,
you want me
I
to.
think we remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were concerned about the parking, so let's, the only thing that has changed is we said, okay, they've got Fulton County School parking, but you don't have now. So what's your answer for that?
So the school had decided they didn't want to assist us with the parking. What we've done is we're working on a valet service that has given us a letter saying that they can provide us appropriate parking as well as ride shares through Uber. One of those was a topic we talked about before. We've also are working with a couple of other folks around the city of Milton to get parking in their parking lots. We're still in the process of getting those contracts finalized, but we don't anticipate between the Uber ride share stuff that we're going to offer to people that are coming, between the valet services that we've already talked to and have gotten a letter of commitment from, as well as we've got a couple of people that are in line to work with us and get we're basically waiting on the lawyers to work out the contracts. We don't see that parking is going to be an issue.
All right, I'm going to get the board, I'm going to close, any opposition to this, Shuba?
No, there is no opposition.
Hearing no opposition, I'm going to close the public hearing. I'm going to ask the board to discuss the parking and voice their concerns or not. We've already approved this fund use, right place, crabapple. So we think it's a good use. We've recommended that to BZA already. So we just need to ring in on what we think about this parking.
I don't know that it would have really affected my decision the last time or not. I mean, I don't really recall all the details of, we didn't approve anything last time. We just made recommendations, right?
Shuba, you about to say something?
Did we approve something last time?
Everything's
It's
recommendations.
a recommendation.
Yeah.
Courtesy.
That's, you all
I
basically.
don't think there was
the
a
4 people.
guarantee before. We can't control what Fulton County Schools do or do not do. I don't know that that's,
And I would ring in that the BZA really is the final legal decision on the parking anyway.
yeah.
The planning, the city council, actually.
Yeah, and city council, you're right. So for tonight, why don't we convey to those parties that we approve this once, The address has been corrected, and we're going to leave the parking decision to council. And we still stand behind our prior recommendation. Is that
Yeah,
good?
sorry you had to come back about the address.
One
I would,
digit- one
I would add
difference.
one thing, recommendation for you is, we've looked at the new phase coming in, and the Reliant building as well, that's going to be on that corner at the roundabout. And then the new building, whenever it's going to get built next to, the existing there, which is going to have ample parking after hours. So that may be something that you may want to look with those guys, because they've got a pretty extravagant parking deck that they're putting in. So that may help your cause.
Okay, so we've made our recommendation. We don't vote on this one, so there you go. All right, next.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You will.
Next case is under courtesy reviews again, is 6B 14665 Glen Creek Way. Would the applicant come up?
Hi, my name's Andy Young, the owner of the property, here with my wife Jill. We've lived in Milton for 17 years, and our boys graduated from Cambridge, and we were looking to get out of our Crooked Creek house, and we found this little farmhouse in Milton. So we got to stay in the community, and so we bought it. And during the we found out after we purchased the home that the existing detached garage, it was within the 50-foot barrier behind at the back of the property. And so we went to all 6 neighbors surrounding the house, the 2 on each side, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and got their all approval to secure a variance to keep the building within the 50-foot setback. And so that is why we're here today.
All right, thank you. Any opposition to this?
No.
Okay, hearing none and noting that he has a letter from all the neighbors around him, I have a question or two, so I'm going to close the public hearing. So I see the shed that was there before and everything is in your package. I also see a proposed new garage.
Yeah.
Is that, Shuba, any part of this?
No.
Because meets code and everything on the new
Yes,
garage.
the new garage meets.
So the new garage has nothing to do with tonight.
Is
Okay,
that what brought this about?
Yes.
Okay.
you're trying to do that and they found this?
Yes.
Okay. So in saving some time and see if the board will agree with this, we've seen this situation dozens of times. And in all cases, we recommend approval because it's been there a long time before the city was formed. So with that said, I want to hear what the board says. If indeed they agree with that, we'll probably make a positive recommendation.
I think a combination of that and support from every neighbor
around
around
surrounding.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Doug, why don't you make our recommendation?
Yeah, I will recommend,
We will.
Wait, so you are having to get the permit for this structure, and in the process of getting the permit for the structure, that's where this came about?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So if we can get Doug to make a
yeah,
recommendation.
so we'll recommend to BZA in support of the courtesy review for V 2305-14665 at Glen Creek Way.
We are absolutely in support of this,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And we have approved these kind of things many times. Good luck at BZA. And we'll hope it goes well for you. Okay, moving right along. We're doing great. Let's see. Next item, again, courtesy reviews, item 6C, 2410 Saddle Springs Drive. Applicant here? Here we got an applicant.
Hello, good evening. My name is Ashley Barton. I'm with Georgia Classic Pool, and I'm here on behalf of the homeowner. She's also here, Kim McAlpin, for 2410 Saddle Springs. We are proposing to build a pool. It will be encroaching into the 75-foot stream buffer on their house. Because of the way that their lot is, their house was built back before the city of Milton, and half their house is in the stream buffer. And so it made it very difficult to place a pool. I don't know if you received a little rendering like this.
Yes.
Okay.
If you turned it into the city,
I
we
did.
have it.
Okay. So we are having a request for 3 variances for this. One is just to bring her house, existing house to code because it is in the stream buffer. And then there's also an existing concrete patio that we're not doing anything with. So that's just code number or variance request number 1 is just to bring her house to code. The second request is there is a portion of her wood deck that's over the AC units that is needing to be just taken down. It's a hazard. And so because it's in the stream buffer, we needed to request to remove that portion. And then we're just going to move the steps on the other side. So it's actually removing a portion of the wood deck out of the buffer. And then the third is for the actual pool. With that layout, you can see our original design was significantly into the 50-foot, but we've been working with the city for right at a year, working with the engineer and the staff to work on the design that we present today, which is the rendering. So the total amount of encroachment is 257 square foot into the 75-foot impervious buffer. Nothing is going into the 50. We've taken the pool deck away. We've decreased the size of the pool. And so that's our request. We have talked to neighbors. Her family owns the property and there's no house on it. So we've got immediate neighbor and verbal support from the other neighbor. They just haven't physically given us the letter, but we're working on it.
Okay, so we got to read in the record, you don't have support if you don't have it in writing. When you get to BZA,
Yeah.
you sure want to have that in
Okay,
writing.
we'll definitely get that.
That'll make a big difference.
Okay,
So, because we can't assume you have it.
all right,
You have it.
okay.
All right, with that, any opposition? Okay, no opposition tonight. I'm going to close the public hearing and turn it over to the board for their discussion and evaluation.
I'll start. Is there a side yard setback for pools?
10 feet.
It's 10 feet,
Yeah.
okay.
Theirs is 10.5, I think 10 feet, 6 inches. That's what they have shown on the plan.
And for retaining walls?
Um,
There is no setback for retaining walls? Okay. When you say the adjacent neighbor, the owner, is that 2,400? Which one does the family you say own? Is 2,400?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, okay. So seeing that they own it as well, they probably don't have as much opposition as the pool being. Yeah, okay.
But just to that line of questioning, there's no issue on the side, any variances on the side. It's all stream buffer in the backside of the property, right?
Correct. Yeah. It kind of cuts diagonally across the rear of that property. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the fact that, you know, you've taken consideration of removing part of the deck to try to get it out of the 50-foot stream buffer. Is this, this is a retention pond? I guess you're capturing the water from the surrounding of the pool and pushing it into kind of a retention pond?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
a little rain garden. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Chair?
Waiting on Doug. You have any comments?
No, I asked mine.
Boy, they're being easy on you tonight. All right, I would ring in that as we get ready to make this recommendation, Ken, you can make it, that we have a history of approving this minor encroachment into the 75-foot buffer. And so we have set precedents in the past, and I'd like that to be, Robin, in our recommendation to BZA. And so, Ken, you want to make this
Well,
one?
and there's three things we're approving, right? We're approving grandfathering in placement of the existing house. We're approving taking down the decking that is currently in the stream buffer because it would disturb
A
the stream
portion of
buffer,
the
a
decking.
portion of it, right?
Yeah,
And then the third is the pool and building the pool in the stream buffer.
correct.
Right.
Correct. But everything coming out of that 50-foot, which I think is fair.
Yep.
Making the effort to get it out of that.
And it looks to me like only I mean, if the back left corner of the house itself is really in that
Concrete pad.
75-foot buffer, the concrete patio is, you're not planning on doing anything with the concrete patio, are you?
No.
No, okay.
Looks like
Majority of houses.
the chimney or a fireplace there maybe, or that's just the house fireplace?
It's just part of the house.
Yeah.
I believe that fireplace, yeah.
Good.
You're going to make the recommendation?
I will make a recommendation that we approve the three requests, or we would make a recommendation to approve the three requested variances for 6C, V23-06, 2410 Saddle Springs Drive.
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
One more thing, just make sure you have those, like have it written when you go to BZA. They'll want to see
Okay.
that for sure.
Okay, will do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Okay, the next case we have is still under courtesy review, 6D, 3240 Francis Road. Is the applicant here?
Hi, good evening, gentlemen. I'm the property owner, Ryan Sather, 3240 Francis Road. Purchased the property last November it's a two-bedroom, 1,600 square foot farmhouse dating back to 1886 with an addition of a bedroom in 1937. So I bought it with my family, two babies, one 3 weeks old, one 2.5 years. Plan is to add 3 bedrooms and a porch to accommodate the family. And in the process of submitting that permit, I came across the current building being over the building setbacks. We're encroaching on the front and the side, and then I also have a shed on the back part of my acre property on the back left corner. We're encroaching the side setback by 4.9 feet. So the variance request is for the existing structure crossing over that setback.
Okay, is that it?
Here to answer any questions from that.
Okay, do we have any opposition to this case?
No.
Hearing no opposition, I'll close the public hearing and ask the board for discussion.
Thank you, sir.
These plans that you've sent us, the Sathers, your residents, is that the proposed thing that you're going to come back to once you're just trying to approve these
Yes.
variances that you can get that going? Okay.
Yes, sir. And the building review is actually in review currently.
Okay. I don't have anything else to discuss. The house is there.
I feel the same way.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, Ken, you got anything?
No, so you said you're adding a story or no? Or you're
Yes, sir.
just doing some renovation to it, but with the side porch and window and
Yes,
stuff like that? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So we're going to make a recommendation to BZA that we support this applicant at 3240 Francis Road. And we'd like that recommendation to point out that they have letters from all of the adjacent neighbors. And that part of this is to bring an old structure into compliance so he can do his addition. And we recommend that BZA approve this.
Is that metal shed also on here,
Yes.
on your application?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So that's our recommendation, and good luck at BZA.
Yep.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck.
Welcome to town, too.
All right, we're going to change now, and let's see, nope.
We have
No, we
one.
got
We
one more.
have one more.
One more.
Relax. You're as anxious to get done as I am. We have one more. Item 6E, 212 Ranchette Road. Applicant here. We got 3 applicants. You guys come up here and plead your case.
How y'all doing today?
We're good. We're always good. So you're the home builder,
Correct.
okay? Tell us about it.
Well, we've got a unique situation. The property has other buildings that were built in the 1970s before Milton was ever a city. And I think the stream buffer was 25 foot at that time for the state. And we have building structures that are in it. So we were told by the, I'm not sure who she is, but she's like the head of the department here, was saying that we need to.
I think those are the 2 heads right there. Better be careful what you say.
I want to get to know
I
them.
can't remember. It's not her. We had a meeting with her.
I know that. I was just being polite. The real head's sitting right there.
Oh, really?
You wanna
I'm
I
not
think
sure
we
if it was
spoke
you.
to
I
Rob.
talked to. Maybe it was her. But we needed to bring up.
She's real
the-
quiet until you say something bad, and then she's all over.
I wouldn't do that. But we needed to bring up those 2 parts of the building and also a pool deck that was built in the 70s that's in the stream buffer. As you can see in the plans, it shows that part of them are in this 75-foot buffer now. And I think we've marked off the impervious and everything else as the surveyors did that. What those pieces are in that, but we are asking for approval for the new guest house also, which is out of the stream buffer, because we have no other place to put the building. There is, because of that stream.
But your new building is not in any
It's
stream
not
buffer.
in the stream buffer.
So you're good. So you're just cleaning up these old issues.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Well,
Okay?
I think they're building the guest house in the front. That
Yeah,
is
the guest
also-
house in the front.
We're building a guest house in the front, and their property is different because their front entrance faces the side yard setback. It doesn't face the street.
And the stream is actually in the backyard.
Wait, say that
So you could
again?
not build there.
All right, let
That-
me summarize for a minute.
The side of the
Sheila,
house faces the road.
You help us a minute here. So one is the stream buffer issues they're wanting to clean up. And then there's another variance, which is new, and that's to put the guest house in the front.
That's only because we don't allow guest house in the front, but they really have a hardship because most of their property is taken by stream buffer. So that's why we were cleaning.
Looks
Okay.
like 70% of it
Because
is.
The way the house, technically it's on the side of the house because the way the house faces, but it's between the side of the house and the street.
Okay?
That makes
Mhm.
sense.
It's a
All
unique
right.
situation.
Setbacks look pretty squared up, though. What did you say about the setbacks being?
The setbacks are fine on the guest house. It's the stream buffers for the back existing
There's 2 buildings.
garage and carport.
Yeah.
That was what was in contention also because it was sitting, some of it's sitting, and the pool deck that's been there since the 70s is sitting in that stream buffer now.
Yeah, so it's 2 requests. The first one
actually,
is-
I think it's
5.
3 requests.
It's 5.
They are, the existing structures are,
Microphone.
and existing structures are encroaching the side setback as well as the buffer.
Okay.
That's why you have
That's
many
what it's
of
for.
them.
And the bigger one really
Is the guest house.
The guest
The
house.
guest house.
The elephant in the room is the new thing, which is the guest house in the front.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
the
can
4.
pretty much move past the other 2 structures
The other 4
like we,
grandfathered in.
yeah, that's a common theme with,
First one's the house.
with all of these tonight is they're all things that were built before Milton was a city.
Correct.
And we did get letters from the neighbors that were okay with it. Even the neighbor across the street did the same thing. And they said, yeah, they agreed to let them do it.
So the neighbor across the street has a guest house in front of their house as well?
They have I really honestly, I haven't looked at the structure, but I think it's a
They built
garage.
in front of their house.
It's interesting, we encourage barns in the front, but not guest house.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that got written up, but anyway.
Now that it's in the front, it's gonna be a nice carriage.
No, make it
great.
look like a barn
Yeah, paint it red and you're in.
and put an X on it and you're good to
All
go.
right, so this is a recommendation to BZA. Reed, you want to make this recommendation?
Well, hold on, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Or really, I only
Here's a
have
thought.
one thing about this is I actually don't, well, two things actually. The carport. You brought a picture of a aluminum framed kind of half walled carport with a tarp to the design review board for the city of Milton. And for me, honestly, I'm okay with again, it's just a recommendation. I'm okay with a detached garage, but that picture I would change.
Yeah, I
For
didn't
the
take
BZA.
it, actually, Mike Cartman.
Because if it was me and I'm not on the BZA, I would probably say no to the carport.
Yeah. Understood.
Just because it's like aluminum with a tarp on it. The other question I do have is I noticed that what is the total heated square footage for an attached or detached accessory building?
1,500.
1,500. So this has right at that finished square feet.
1245.
The other thing is I saw that you got in there is just, it says storage not heated, but it has a bathroom. And then you have a lighting plan that has can lights and fans. I would maybe change that lighting plan.
Well,
I get it.
Drew it.
Yeah, but to me, that says finished square footage, not unheated. So that's really the only two things I have. Other than that, I'm okay with the guest house in the front and the buffers.
And if we separate the issues, we have the old things that we always do, grandfathering and cleaning those issues up so they can move forward to something new. The real issue is the guest house in the front, but they have a hardship. Reed, you want to take this one on?
Woo! Sure. My recommendation is to allow the existing structures that are on the property
Yeah,
to
that's
encroach
fine.
the setbacks and allow the new guest house. That's it. Is that eloquent enough for you?
That's perfectly fine.
We'll jazz it up.
Just a recommendation.
Just a recommendation.
We're okay with this, is what we're saying. Yeah. I don't think there's
And
any-
again, like some of the others, and Shuba, I think you're doing a good job at educating. The last 6, 8 months, now we get all these letters instead of,
Yeah.
oh, my neighbors are fine with it. So you've done a good job of getting the letters. And I like the thing you've added over the last few months with the
Check
site
marks.
plan or the lots, checking them off, makes our jobs quicker and easier. And so you've done a really good job. All of a sudden, after 5 years sitting here,
It's
I'm
really
seeing-
Michael. Michael doing all the work.
I'm seeing a whole lot of good letters. So that's real good. So Reed's made that recommendation and we'll send it on to BZA. Good luck.
Thank you very
And
much.
I think
You guys
Ken
have a
made a
nice-
good point. I was winking at the tarp and everything and I was just looking the other way. But
Well, what do
I'd
you
clean
have,
that
the
picture
tarp?
up.
Is that covering your boat or something?
It's for a boat.
Yeah, and
He's got a boat back there.
But
And that was
here's,
just kind of
here's,
for the
here's what I
winter.
would tell you three. We sit on these boards and if you show us some uglies, we're going to worry about your ability to build a new guest house in the front yard. So let's clean up any uglies before you go to BZA.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just a recommendation. I saw that like, they're asking to keep that.
But that was a good recommendation.
The builder didn't have anything to do with that. so-
Yeah, no. It's,
They,
Back behind everything anyways.
but
Last
based
thing
on our recommendation is we won't, you guys to be able to get this project moved forward, right? And so I was just trying to kind of give you a little bit of insight of my point of view.
So
Is
should we
what may
get
come
some
up.
more pictures and give to Mike Cardigan
Yeah,
and let him like.
just get in the boat with a big fish or something, get rid of the tarp. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, thank you
Cool.
guys
Thank
very
you.
much.
Good luck.
Y'all have a nice evening.
You too.
You too.
All right, so item 7, we're going to change now to final reviews. We vote on these and we make the decision on these. And this is final at DRB here. So we're in final reviews now. 7A is first. This is at 12920 Highway 9, Milton, Georgia. Applicant here.
Good evening. How are you all?
Good.
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Introduce myself. I'm James Slaughter. I actually represent Mr. Ray Hall, who owns the A1 driving school, owns the property. And what he is doing, or we were attempting to do, was make some aesthetic changes to that property on the outside of it. Found out one that we can't use parking in the front. And you'll see in that packet, I guess you have that, and forgive me, I put a site plan in there. We had it revised when we went through the building department for the permit, and it has parking on it. One that you have doesn't have, it has been revised and went through the portal. So I gave you the wrong one that doesn't have the part. It actually has 22 parking spaces going on the side.
Yeah, can we see that?
Oh, all right, now we're talking about technology now. Okay, I do have it. Let me see. Oh.
It's coming through. Move it forward a little bit. There you go.
Or turn it sideways?
Move back.
Sideways like this,
Mm-hmm.
like that.
There you go.
Need to make it bigger.
No, we can.
No,
Okay.
you're good. Thank you.
So that is the revised, what we're asking for, as far as adding parking. And so we found out we couldn't put parking in the front. But totally what this is A1 driving school is trying to change just the aesthetics of the front, which we brought some of the materials that we're gonna be using. Some of it's already existing, just changing it. It's already there. We're just changing the paint color to the beige to white. The tin roof, as you'll see in there, you will also see where we're buying the material from. As far as aesthetics, it's changing in the front facial part of it. And the porch, you see some of the synthetic material that we're using for the porch. It's not wood, but it's what we'll be walking on, which is a synthetic type of wood that'll be used for the actual porch itself. Again, we're using regular 2x4 side wood that we'll be using as well for the not stud, but facial part of it. Again, he wants to use it for his tenants are concerned in the inside and those different spaces there. That's what it'll be used for. A1 driving school is one already existing there, and then the other tenants there. As you'll see on the site plan, the parking that's down in the cul-de-sac or the circle of the property, it's already existing. We're just having to go down the side of the parallel to the existing neighbors down the side of it. And the site plan also showed us that we butt up almost right to the front, the side door of that of the building that's already existing there. So we come up kind of close. So we've actually got I think it's 10 feet, 5 to 10 feet, I think, space between, but we own the property all the way up to the side of that building. So that is what we're proposing to do, is change the aesthetics of the front and the side.
Okay. Do we have any opposition to this case?
No.
Okay, I'm hearing no opposition. I'm going to close the public hearing, and we're going to have some discussion. I would like to start with, I have some serious concerns on this building. I was out there today. I was shocked with what I saw. I've got some questions for staff. Construction has started, I think, without a building permit. So I don't think there's a building permit out there. So can you give me any history? I see construction with no building permit. I see a vinyl sided building. I don't see any architecture really in this package that I'm happy with and that meets Milton standards. So there are some issues here.
Oh, just to look, want me to give you, I'm sorry.
Staff can give me the history on this building.
Sorry about
Yeah, well, they had, actually, there was a lot of steps that we had to go through. They applied for change of use, but they thought that that's all they need. They don't need any other kind of permit. But then we had to sit with them and ask them to go through a real process of building permit and DRB. So they did get started. They got ahead of themselves and started working on the project before getting lots of things.
So they did start construction without a permit.
Well, they were going to do just interior or some site changes, and they just thought that they don't need much of a
Yeah, so
permit.
it's an existing building.
It is an existing building.
And it's an old building.
It is an old building.
And, but there is construction on the front that is without a permit.
Yep.
So they're changing that roof and putting in soffits and,
Well, that might have got a permit because that's separate, just a minor
on the inside.
roof changes, all that, they might have got a permit for that, but the
Submitted for that?
exterior
Well,
changes, we
they're both
want-
talking at the same time. So if one person could talk.
Right.
So you go ahead.
Okay, so we initially submitted, we didn't know that there was a board that we should have went through first before we went through the building permit process. When we submitted to the building process through the portal, sent the plans and everything, and we got a permit. We thought the permit was for us to be able to do what we were doing. So come to find out, we couldn't do that. So we stopped work, got to stop work on, oh, we can't do that. That's when we started dealing with the board here. And going back to, we've met with them 3 or 4 times, maybe 3 times. We've come up thinking that we're going through just the regular, in other counties, we go through the regular part of building permit and zoning and all that. And that's what we did, went through the portal of that. My background is I'm a retired deputy fire marshal. So I'm very clear about what we're supposed to do. Wasn't trying to do something without getting permitted to do it, as I told them, and they seen that. And we stopped it, haven't worked since. And we've been going through this process, gathering all the information that you all may need. And that's why we're here now. No work has been done since we were told we got to go through this board, and that's what we're trying to do.
So it's an existing building. There's stuff going on the inside that's already approved. What they need approval from DRB is the exterior changes and the decking, and that's pretty much it.
Yep,
And it's got vinyl siding on it now?
It always has. It's always
You're going
had
to
that.
want, and you're ripping the vinyl off to put vinyl back on?
Right. Well, we're not ripping it off. We're
Changing
painting.
color?
Yes, the color. This is what's on there. And when we bought the building, it was on there.
Changing
We
it
just
from
changed the color
white,
from
from beige to white.
I don't have enough drawings for me to really be comfortable with the front and the big change that's going on there and whether that's going to be signage or what's happening there. And so I don't know how much you've gotten done, but I'm not happy with the architecture I see here or the samples I see. So I'm going to make a motion, the board may do something different, to table this for 30 days while we get a chance to, maybe a couple of us meet with you out there and understand what you're doing. The city has a major effort going on to do upgrades and things in Deerfield. On 2 or 3 projects the last couple of years, we've really held those renovations to very high standards as the city brings Deerfield to a higher level. And this is really, one, it's an old building, so that's not your fault. But you are doing things, and that are beyond just a little bit of paint. If you were just painting it, I wouldn't have anything to say, but you're putting a whole new front on that roof, and you're changing windows, you're changing doors, putting in doors. There's a lot going on here. And again, I think a lot's gone on, more than we're saying today, because I've been out there and looked at it, and I'm a builder. Been a builder 50 years. So there's issues here, and if we're doing our job, this needs to be brought up to a higher level than what these plans show me. That's going to be my motion. I'm just one of 5 votes.
If I may say, there's a full set of plans in the portal, full set. So,
Whatever
can we
you
track
gave
those?
me is
Right, so
what I
that's
gave
okay.
them. They have the
Okay, they have it.
elevations.
Okay. So if it's something additional that we need to do to
So
level
I-
with what you need, we'll definitely, I just shrunk this down to this packet here.
Well, what I'd like to do, if I can get the votes to do it here, is table this for 30 days. Let's meet. Let's stand out there and look at it. I'm just used to more sets of, more details on drawings than what I'm seeing in this package.
Yes, sir.
Even a
What-
picture of what it currently is, I don't even know really what I'm looking at. I mean, I'm happy to meet out there.
Yeah, I'll meet out there as well. I think we all
It's-
commend you
it's-
for wanting to upgrade a building in the city. I think that's awesome. I think we all are totally in support of that and want to see that happen. It's just, it's kind of put on us to make sure it's done at a certain standard. And so, yeah, I'm up for meeting out there and looking through it and going through materials and making sure that it is at that standard.
We can only have 3 of us, so you 2 want to, I want to. So are you 2?
I drive by it every day.
Oh, you do?
I live right by there. It's two buildings up from the old Scratch Restaurant, just north of Windward on the same side. So it's a yellow building currently. I know that.
Yep.
So I've seen the roofing go up. I don't know what that serves personally. I'm not a builder. But I do drive by it every day. And I know being on this board, I don't know how I think we need a lot more, like
Yes, sir.
Charlie's saying, just to
Understand.
kind of understand what you're trying to do with that front. Because that is Highway 9 facing, like it's going to be driven by hundreds of thousands of cars in a month. So it's just something that we need a little more information, I think, for.
Okay.
I just wanted to, I actually see what you're trying to do with the parapet walls to make it more of like a commercial presence than the residential presence
Correct.
that's there.
Taken away from the residents.
I agree with Charlie on, it would be, for me, I would like to give you some, if they meet, that's great, but as far as a packet, like take some pictures of what's there now. And then if you can maybe take this rendering and color it, because I didn't realize that the existing building already had vinyl siding on it. Cause that was my first comment, was like, no, you know?
Right, I understand.
And so that, I think that's the thing to Charlie's point is if we're adding this parapet wall to give it more of a commercial-like appearance, if you're just going to be putting just straight, vinyl siding on that parapet wall on the front, it's just going to look like this kind of cheap wall. And so I think from our standard is we're trying to kind of help get away from that, not necessarily create the Taj Mahal, but not have something that is just going to be kind of a blank wall and not necessarily fitting within kind of what we've been appointed to do, right? So
And this sets up in the years ahead. I'm a developer and I do a lot of retail.
Yes, sir.
I've seen this done a bunch in Sandy Springs, which looks terrible. You're setting up a nice sign wall here for a bunch of signage up on that new parapet wall, which I don't want to see. And we
You
would
won't allow
want to
that.
make sure
Right.
if we approve this, there's no signage up there on that wall. So there's numerous things here, and then you're moving windows and doors, and there's just a lot here that needs to be resolved in a very important area of town. And so, again, and I would step out, and if you want to go and read, Doug, and you can go do it.
Like I said, I drive by it every day.
We can only go through 3 of us.
Oh, we can't have
We have a
4.
quorum, so we can't go with more than 3.
I don't have to go.
Okay, so Doug's go, I go, and Ken, you want to go?
sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to take it, this,
Well, I guess my question is do you think if we do table this in 30 days, because I know it's been sitting like that for quite some time, I imagine that you guys are ready to get going as probably as much as the city is ready for
Yes.
you to get going as
Yes,
well.
Yes.
So that's really kind of my reserve is if we say, hey, listen, 30 days, we meet you out there as soon as, this week, first of next week, could you turn that around, give you some pointers? Could you turn that around within the next 30 days to get
I'm
back up
sure we
here
could
and we
to
say,
get the
you guys are
information
ready to rock?
The
Well,
information
if
that you
my
need.
alternate to that, Ken, is if they can't, I still would like to deny this. This can't get approved, in my opinion, my one vote,
Understood.
in the
Understood.
shape it's in. So the question you pose is really not a good question, in my
Okay.
opinion.
Okay.
If he can't get it organized, and he hasn't been able to, nothing against you, but I'm hearing this has been on the table a year, that's not our purview to decide.
Understood.
I'm tabling it for 30 days. I would like to. I'm gonna make a motion to do that, so you can work on it. If you aren't ready in 30, we'll table it for another 30
No,
until
we'll-
you want to get ready to do your work and
Well, yeah.
bring this up to where Milton wants to be. And I've sat here for 5 years, and on lots of buildings that were old, we've had them bring this up to Milton standards that none of us created. We just enforce what the city architect and the city council wants us to do. So
No problem with that.
that's what you got to see. And it's not our place to tell him to hurry up.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying, fair enough. Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
And
got it.
getting into time is not what this board does.
Understood.
We got an architectural problem here, and we got materials problems, and we need numerous bullet points in this approval to protect this neighborhood in 2 or 3 years, that signage doesn't go up, and that these additions, this building's been hammered on and changed numerous times.
It should be maybe helpful if you could just show him as an example, the dentist building that went up kind of around the corner from there and what was provided to us.
Looks great.
I told them,
See that?
get existing buildings, pictures, before, after, and renderings. They just gave me this.
Also,
Okay.
let's give him two things, Shiva, was it a dentist building?
It's a dentist building.
And then also, what was the restaurant that
Jim
did
and
a
Nick's.
magnificent change?
Jim and Nick's
Oh, yeah.
Jim and Nick's.
on Windward Parkway. So the new Jim and Nick's literally across the street in front of Walmart.
Before and after of Jimmy Nix, and that's what this district is wanting to do.
Jim and Nick's is a good example because it was an existing building.
That's
It's a
Yeah.
KFC.
We gave you Jim.
Paul is not, it doesn't have a problem with him. He don't have a problem with that. We've been delayed by, if everybody knows, the supply chain, can't get this, can't get that.
Sure.
We couldn't even get a survey for almost a month. So it hasn't been that we weren't trying to appease and get the information that you all needed in a hurry. And then understanding how your portal's working. This board is first. We should have been here first before we even submitted to them to build it. We should have come here first, got it approved, then we go through that
But
process.
I'm okay with
So-
all of that.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people make mistakes and don't know. I'm okay with that.
Right, right.
What I'm not okay with is getting this pushed through real quick
Oh, we're not.
until we get a set of drawings
No
that
worries.
we know what we're going to get in this very important neighborhood. And we got 5,000 homeowners over there, and I hear from them all the time about what they want to see on Highway 9, and they're sick of junky, trashy buildings. And what is it, Crooked Creek over there, Shuba, is that's the neighborhood I hear from all the time on anything over there. And that's my point. Take all the time you want. Take another year. That's your decision. And Ken and I are developers, and Reed's in real estate. It's your property. Take all the time you want. But this package and the proposal on the table tonight is not going to get my vote.
Gotcha.
And I think we're being very courteous to say, let's just table it instead of denying it. And tabling it, we can meet, and if it takes you 2 months, no problem. Let's get this figured out properly and get some drawings that are enforceable so we know what we're going to get.
Charlie, I'm
I
not sure
appreciate
I'm not sure if you opened up to the public or not.
I did, and
Did you?
she said there was no opposition.
Yeah, no worries.
Just making sure.
I appreciate that. And we'll take all the advice you've given. My only as a builder, if you can see some of the projects he's done, you'll be pleased with him.
All right,
Just
super. So I'm going to make a motion that we table this for 30 days and that you continue to work with staff, and they're really pros at what they do
Correct.
and their recommendations. Look at 2 other cases that have come before us, and the end result with those 2 cases, a new build on Highway 9 and a renovation. and do a little more homework. I think the board's happy to meet with you, one or two or up to three of us. And it can be any one of the three that if you all want to go, I don't care.
Sure.
But to really, and the reason I went out there today and took my 2 hours to do it and drive from Sandy Springs was that I got 6 phone calls on this in the last 3 days over Easter weekend with people unhappy about what this is about. And they didn't want to come tonight. They didn't want to come to the meeting. They just wanted to tear my head off and voice their
We don't want that.
disappointment in this building.
Right.
So
So Charlie, do you have any direction for them for the material or anything like that? Because to get started for the next set of drawings, are you okay with the siding?
well, the siding is there. It's grandfathered. It's vinyl. So I'm good with the vinyl
Well,
because it's there.
correct. Yeah. Yeah. Again, because we didn't really have, as much information or existing pictures and I had driven by it too, but I couldn't tell that it was vinyl siding. I wasn't going to kind of creep up in there, but, I think, the staff has done a good job, as you pointed out earlier, is really trying to help you guys before you get to this point on the documentation that they know that we're kind of asked for. So they're a good person to kind of, good staff to lean on to. And then, like you said, is we're willing to come out there and help you as well, because that's kind of our job, right?
All right, back to Shuba's question. I don't love the giant straight up down. You're putting metal roof on. That's Milton. Do you have a sample of your metal roof?
Yeah, he showed us that.
Let's see it again. And what color is that going to be?
Color we said it's gonna be bronze. Yeah, it's gonna be bronze.
So that's not bronze, and we need to make sure we have it.
We actually ordered it from, trying to get the sample,
All right.
just the
So-
sample from it, stuff. But
I'm just saying what we're going to have in 30 days.
I got you, understand.
And Shuba's question is give them some advice. So the metal you want, see if you can get a sample of what you're really going to use. And we need a number and a fact. So we know it's such and such a brand in the bronze color.
Okay.
And what I would tell you here is we constantly have problems where people don't document this and then they change it and it's not done the way we all agreed. So we need those colors. The metal is really nice. That's taking it forward. Maybe if you had some shutters on this with a little color, and just drive around, look at all these Milton buildings, and that's what we'd like. Maybe some brackets on these skinny little posts. Maybe if these posts were built out a little bit more, I can show you some examples of a Milton post. These are maybe 2x2s or 4x4s, whatever they are, but you could build out the base to 6x6, put a piece of trim around it, put some brackets at the top with the metal. Let's play down this giant parapet wall that's taller than it needs to be. I don't want to see any signage up there in the future. And then the same all the way around as you move doors around. Maybe we get a few shutters. That gets your little paint color on top of this white and gets something cuter. And I'm open to anything that the board wants to suggest that brings this into Milton 2023.
May I ask a question? Did you want to
Go ahead. Yeah, I can.
Are you putting on this long, I don't know what it looks like right now, but are you putting on this long metal roof, the whole thing, the whole porch? Are you adding that on? You're adding the whole porch on, or are you just
The whole
redoing the
porch.
roof?
Yeah, the
So
whole-
so when you look at this dead on, like some of the beams, like the 2x2s or 4x4s, excuse me, that Charlie just said to maybe beef up, like they're in front of the window, they're in front of the door, nothing's really squared up. Can you not just make these individual suites and maybe give it some texture to the front instead of making one complete
Or
long,
make it symmetrical, you mean?
or some even
Yeah.
symmetrical would be nice, but can you make, these are going to be individual suites?
Correct.
Right.
You saying break them up?
Well,
so
right
don't
now it
look-
looks like a big motel.
I
That's
got
what it
you.
looks like, just a big,
Okay.
I don't know. You
Give
guys
us
can
some-
tell me if I'm
give us
wrong.
You just spacing the supports, the posts for the front porch 8 feet on center, and then that's really it. There's not much thought into the placement. You could double up some of those columns, or like Charlie said, add some brackets, space them out to where they're not in front of a window,
You'll
not in
make
front
it
of a
look
door.
like it's-
Well,
they're
the
actually
actual
set
suite,
individuals.
right now it just looks like a walkway that
If you
There's not even
guys,
access to
if
the
you
suite.
guys would just leave here and go up this little one-story office park, there's all kind of fabulous little design items there. If you'll go down to the roundabout, there's 2 office medical buildings that we put them through a whole lot, getting them where they needed to be. It's built now, many good ideas. Across the street is a beautiful townhouse project, 2-story with brackets and the right size post. So within 5 minutes of where we are now, you can see 3 great examples of what Milton wants, city council wants, the homeowners want, and the city's architect has worked hard for 15 years to create. So there's lots of good examples within 5 minutes of here. This does look like, taking Reed's term, a motel. It's actually just a very old, inexpensive building that's deteriorated in a killer location. It's in a great location. And I'm sure its value has tripled or quadrupled in the years you all have owned it. That's because Milton has raised values, and Alpharetta, significantly. And we get that done through good architecture and good construction quality. And that's what I want to see happen here with a set of drawings that you have taken the box, and I don't care about what's in the box or in the suite, that's your area. But I do care that this architecture is going to have to get up to a level that'll get my vote and that'll cause the neighbors up there to be happy. So,
Do you understand what Reed was talking about as far as that front elevation and where
Yes,
where
I
the posts
understand.
are? Some of them are kind of covering windows, some are covering
I understand.
the side lights. So just as another example, so you showed us the roofing and said that it would be bronze. And on the last page, it just says
there is
corrugated
bronze.
metal roofing, but it doesn't necessarily have the color. In the packet of the Muse Salon that we're getting ready to review, they have the color of what they're going to be painting this thing. It has jogging paths, Sherwin-Williams, and a number, a paint code number. So we have
Okay.
all the information, and this is what goes into the record. So everybody is on the same page and understanding and feeling good about what gets approved here is what's going to get built, and then they go back and they
More
see it
facts.
after the fact, right? So if you can just document all that stuff in here, the colors, the style, the numbers, parts, all that stuff, that would be really helpful.
and get us a set of plans that can go into the record.
Understood.
All right, with that said, we've closed the public hearing, and I'd like to make a motion that we table for 30 days, item 7A, 12920 Highway 9, Milton, Georgia. And if you ask us to, happy to have a couple of members of the board meet with you out there. And then I'd like to ask the entire board to make sure you go, get out of your car and look at this before you come back to vote on this next time. So that this board on this important Highway 9, our most commercial district, and everybody looks at what Milton's about. We make sure we're getting Milton's look enforced. And so that's my motion.
Question. So to set up a meeting?
Yeah, the motion is on the table, so.
But to answer your question, she'll get the meeting set up. She's got her email, she'll get it done. And let's just do it, let's say between 9 and 4, so we're not all in traffic out there on a business day. And we can also meet separately. We don't have to go together. So I've got a motion on the table. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We look forward to working with you the next month.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Happy to help, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for your service in the fire business.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Oh, when you decide to come out, you let us know so we can be there.
Well, no,
Yes,
she's
yes,
going to set up a
yes.
meeting.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, next item and final item, I think, on tonight's agenda is item 7B, 825 Mayfield Road. And we got 2 applicants, it looks like. Just a second.
Hello, good evening.
Bring that up. Good evening.
Hi, sorry.
Um,
State your name and address.
Yeah, My name is Mike DiCarlo Hawker Architects, 2470 Jose L. Williams Drive in Atlanta.
Who's this person?
This
I'm
is,
the owner of the building.
Why don't you
my client.
announce?
I'm Jody Mason Jones from 3186 Valley Forest Drive, Milton, Georgia.
So Jody and his group purchased 825 Mayfield, which was flowers from us. And they've got a very successful salon in Johns Creek. You all live between here and there. And they thought this building was perfect. They love what Milton's about. And they're kind of excited to bring their business to Milton. The building suited them really well. It had an upgrade, an addition about 10 years ago, probably almost exactly 10 years ago. And we're doing a pretty extensive interior reconfiguration and renovation. On the exterior, we more or less want to freshen it up. We love the Milton look. You love the Milton look. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, give it a coat of lighter paint. There'll be we're expanding. The main change we're doing is noted in the submission is all the roofs are staying the same, but we are adding some space under some existing porches. So we're kind of bumping out the walls underneath those porches, but not going beyond porches.
And what I would tell you is if we could always get submissions this well done, you had to sit through, we should have just mailed them this.
That's why I was almost like, you can take my copy of the next one if you want to go.
We
And
don't need it. We don't
So
need it.
Appreciate it.
let me do this if I may.
Yeah.
Do we have any opposition to this?
No.
I'm going to close the public hearing, and I want to get on record that we love you, and you're doing exactly what we're doing. You understand that we're in the process of doing an overlay and creating the district at Mayfield. And I knew the florist real well, and they told me they were going to sell the
They were
building.
clients of ours.
And
They're clients of ours.
so they're great guys, and they did just what we wanted for a long time. And I would tell you, I've said this in the public domain before, but they helped make the district happen because it proves renovation of these buildings and adaptive reuse works. We'd already proved that with the florist, and now we get to prove it again with you. And I, at this late hour, would make a motion to approve this as exactly as submitted. The colors are here, the quality's here. We're not architects. We've clearly got a good architect. We don't need to do what we just did the last hour. When you have a very caring owner and a very involved owner and a great use and a great architect. And this is really how we want this to go. So I would make a motion to approve this as submitted and are just so thankful you're here. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
I'll second.
Does the board want to ring in on any discussion?
The only question I really had and I agree with Charlie, this is it, right? This is great. Looks awesome. Great job. Very thorough packet. Very much, what we're looking to see and what we kind of want to see and what we look to and like to approve. My only thing is since this is going to kind of be part of that Mayfield district and we haven't necessarily set those architectural standards for that, is that something that we consider or?
We can, let me do this. We can, Bob and I have met on this
Okay.
and discussed it. These are minor and the major parts of the structure aren't changing and Bob's good with this and we're good with it. And it meets it sets the example for the district. It's really something
I think
what is your timing on
that's
this?
more the key of it is that it does. It will be a building that looks the part,
Right.
kind of like Milton's does, or what Milton's is going to. Remember when they came and had theirs approved a couple months ago, right? So that's just one more building. I know, I did too. That's
be
one more
builders.
building.
I would just say that it is in line with what we are trying to propose, so.
Yeah. Well, based on kind of the presentation and everything I've seen.
How much of are you losing the entire porch that's on that side or just a
It
portion?
would be a covered walkway, correct?
Okay.
Just extending the building out to give it a little bit more interior space. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Just so the look and feel of the existing home is.
Change, yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's gonna be nice.
You asked the timeline. I think we were talking like probably late this year.
Have you closed on it yet?
Oh, yeah, we closed in February, February
Okay, great.
14th.
But the guys are still running.
Yeah, we let them stay there. We
Okay.
let them stay there. They wanted to pay us rent, and we're like, no, you can just.
Well, and it protects the building too, because they're there.
I'd say that you also, as you're kind of making the, I guess, the inaugural statement of this area, which I love this, is great. You probably also have a cool or a really good opportunity to make a good statement with signage. Because I imagine you're going to want signage. I would think there's already signage there for the flower shop. Maybe there's not. Maybe they just threw that banner up
Yeah, they
there
just
that-
have the banner up, I think.
Uh,
We talked
Some
about that.
discussions. Yeah, we're in discussions about, they've come to staff with some ideas. So we're definitely working on the signage portion of it.
And
so.
from and I've been a builder 50 years. And I've done a lot of retail. So really keep being creative here and be creative with your signage and push for all you want. We really support Milton's and what they're getting ready to do, and you. And you set a tone. If we want this district, we got to have people that are willing to put their money and their time in these buildings, and then the district will be set. You're doing great. So ask for whatever you want. You're probably going to get it. And because
Good to
you've
know.
earned it.
Okay.
Charlie has no couth.
Not too much.
You truly earned it with what you're doing.
Peyton told us that too.
Yeah, it's nice work.
Yeah, bigger metal
All right,
windows.
so I got a
all
motion
in.
on the table. Can we get a second?
I had a second.
Yeah, we're good.
I seconded it.
Okay, so Casey's second. All in favor?
Doug already seconded.
Aye.
Already voted?
Triple second, yeah.
Okay, we're so happy we double voted.
Thank you, thank you.
It is refreshing though to get
That.
packets like this that,
Beautiful.
So-
Makes our job easy.
I mean, I can embellish all day long, but good job.
Yep.
Very good
All right,
job,
so
guys.
now,
so
thank
much.
you, thank you.
So
So,
vote on it already? Did you vote it?
We did.
yeah, we voted.
It was unanimous.
Unanimous, yeah.
So I gave them the same set of instructions, the Jim and Nick packet for everybody. Literally, we have stack of them. But some people bring brilliant packets and some people just give me,
Well,
If everybody was these guys, we wouldn't be in business. We wouldn't need
I'm
a
just
board.
gonna brag on Mike, but we came for our first meeting with Bob. He had an amazing packet, so. Mike knows what it's.
Very good.
Awesome. Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Actually, if you would, Shuba, get me the architect's, all right, where's that package?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on the plans.
Yeah.
Because I'll give his name to some other people that are looking at doing the same thing.
Hey, can I ask, since we're finished with that, can I ask a question? I know we've talked about this before, but can you,
thank you, have a good evening.
can you review for us again why the code is that you can have a barn in front of your house and not a guest house?
So.
Just for my edification. I know we've
Yeah,
talked about it
So we did this
before.
about 10 years ago. At the time, I think it was even before Laura Bentley was on council. She's very active in the equestrian community. And we have a lot of properties in the city that could be rectangular in shape, and they may have the house way in the back, and they have a big pasture in the front. And it just makes more sense to have the barn or the stable in front of the house. So it really was trying to create a good situation for the equestrian community and to make it easier when they place a barn on an odd shaped lot that would work for that. So, yeah.
I have another question, kind of. When these guys are caught building without a permit, is there any kind of,
Lawful action.
yeah, like
Fine, something.
Well, it's a stop
because
work.
because that's
Yeah.
like, and Charlie, you didn't bring it up. You said it to the guys with the private
cabana
school,
in the
whatever,
back.
but the Glen Creek Way was
Yeah.
building an entire garage attached to their house without a permit. That's the only reason they're back here too. I get it. So like at a certain point we say forgive and forget, and that's why I kind of gave them, it's
So, I mean, obviously, we only have so much manpower, but, when we find out there's a building being built without a permit, the building department issues a stop work order and then orders them to come and get their permits. And then they're double fees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there is some kind of a fine.
They
of
occur
some
something,
sort.
or something.
What about in the
Yeah,
case
so it's
of,
not really a fine because it doesn't go to court necessarily. It's just, okay, you were found out, you need to rectify it. And part of, it's in the code that they double the fees for the building permit.
so what about in the case of that pool cabana, that outdoor kitchen that was built?
With the noise complaint?
Yeah, and the neighbor was like, I don't care, it's 2.5 feet, I don't want.
You got denied.
Gave him some kind of $1,000 per day. They have to be, it has to be removed because BZA denied it already. He went to the court,
Municipal court?
yeah. not the-
So they're looking at tearing it down.
So they're gonna have to move it, and
They're
there
gonna
is
have to
an
remove it.
enforceable fine if he doesn't do it in time?
Right? Yeah. Michael knows more about it
Yeah,
because he
Michael's the
went to the
expert on
court
it, yeah,
with the code enforcement, but yeah, he was ordered to remove it.
Oh, wow.
All right.
I have a question along the same lines. The blue buildings that were quote unquote already there, built, not built, the garage, the house tonight. How do you, when it says there was an existing building and it's been there for ages and it's in the setback, how do we know that that building was there? Is it just the survey that just
We
says,
have
oh,
some GIS
Yeah, I
data.
checked Google Earth and I saw it.
You did?
They put in that retaining wall though.
because
That
it
was
looked like it had a
new.
new foundation.
There's a wood retaining wall in the back, but then there's a,
So
Like
you
a
checking,
CMU.
you're checking all these things.
We have some visual data since 2000, but before that, it's just some tax record might show it, right? I don't know how you check it. If it's really,
mean-
really old building, like 1970s.
I mean, we don't sit there and, scour the Google Earth looking for infractions. It's typically when somebody comes in for a permit for another item and then, we have
Yeah.
them do a survey. Even the one on Ranchette, at first, it took a while for them to get a survey because we needed to know exactly where those non-conforming buildings were. We can't just say, okay, they're okay based on this sketch. So I think most of this comes from
Permitting, yeah.
permitting
Yep,
and
we
just
flag
fixing
them.
problems.
But yeah,
so.
we go check, especially Fulton County's GIS data has old picture aerials. And so since 2000, so we can at least check, if it was it before the city formed or not.
Like,
I just want to, like, for me,
Easter
I know
egg
it's
hunt.
not our job, but just to make sure that we're not we're known for just accept it, what's the term I'm looking for? It's like,
Grandfathering
"Oops, sorry."
everything?
Yeah, like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You can build these buildings no matter what. Anyway, that's why I brought up the whole thing about the finished square footage. There's no way that's going to be storage
No
on the
way.
main floor of that building.
really
Bathroom right there.
With a bathroom, and then their electrical plan shows can lights, sconces, and a fan and all that. It's like, I get it. You can label it, storage, but anyway, that's not.
It's, it's supposed to be unheated.
Yeah, unheated 1500 square.
All right. So good questions. New business.
Charlie's got dinner.
I was gonna say.
No. No, I'll stay as late as you want to stay. But, I like your questions. It took me 2 or 3 years to learn a lot of this stuff. So your questions were good. But, once we hear from them, why spend 30 minutes on cases that we've got a packet, we've studied them. That was my point tonight. But anyway, so we have no new business. Old business.
He has
I'm just want to go back to the question about the guest house in the front. Is that something that you all, that might be a positive thing?
If you like
So we
guest
can
house,
look to
you
do
can
a
just-
text amendment, or we
Yeah,
kind
we
of
can
like
allow
I just,
socialize that
my
idea?
thought on that is if we allow a barn, and a barn is an appealing structure that enhances the value of that property and of the area, if someone puts a guest house in front of it, that could also do the same thing. I don't
Would
know
do the
why.
same thing.
Yeah,
It's really nice vernacular structure. It would actually, look good.
Here is a class I had from the former mayor 5 years ago on this topic. Milton is horses, and maybe this comes, like you said, from before Laura and the equestrian community. Barn is animals. and we're about animals. You put a guest house there and now you got a boat, you got cars, you got 2 or 3 cars, and it's a whole different use than animals going to sleep or a passive barn. We have a barn across the street from us in the front yard. It is super cute.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
you
nice. Oh,
live
yeah,
on the
yeah.
same street. Super cute. I never see people or cars or a boat. It's not a guest house, it's a barn, and it's really cute. And in the era of our history, which Joe and Bob taught me in many classes, everybody was less busy 4 years ago. And the barn says Milton, a guest house doesn't say Milton.
Yeah, but the barns are more restrictive than the guest houses are. If they're
100 feet,
If
yeah.
they're going to house animals, they have to be 100 feet from each property line. And that's basically no property that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I just listened to what I was told.
So I think there might be a middle ground. So one of the other regulations for a guest house is it's supposed to be behind or in the rear yard. So, maybe we could
Side.
adjust it so it's
Side.
on the side, but behind the front plane of the
Yeah.
house and not connected. So,
Well, I don't know if I would even amend it because there is so few that come through. Then at least those that do come through have to go through this process, and it's not just I like what Charlie said too. Is make it fine. If you want to do that, then maybe we have a little bit more structure on it. It needs to look like a barn, or in this instance, their garage was in the rear
That was
of that. If the garage had been in the front, I would have kind of been opposed to that.
Yeah,
So
no one wants to see, especially if it's put on
More
the front of
doors.
the property, you don't want to see the boats and all the extra cars and all that. But if that is facing the existing house, which
Yeah.
then would then be behind it,
or
that may not,
or opposite the road, right?
yeah,
Right.
then that might not be such a bad deal, especially if the side that is facing it, whether it looks like a barn, looks like a house, we would have our thumbprint on it because it would have to be approved by us.
Correct.
Right? Kind of like, it was one of the very first cases we had was they wanted to do that addition to the White House next to Stars Soccer,
Uh-huh.
right? And we were like,
Got to change the
no
outside.
to a lot of that. We got to determine what the outside of that looked like. You could do the same thing in this case, right?
Yep.
Okay. I just,
Sold
I
that,
just,
by the way.
Oh.
And the horse farm that we approved last month is up for sale now.
Many in 5 years, when you
On
see
Wood
them
Road?
doing this, they're getting
They're
ready
going
to
to sell
sell
it.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all the time.
Mhm.
When they're in cleaning up grandfather stuff, they're getting ready to build something, or they're just getting ready to go on the market and there's a title issue or something. So, and I knew, I'd already heard she was going to sell the property.
Well, she was selling it with the approval of the variance so she could sell it for a higher profit.
Yeah.
But that's fine. That's on your guest.
it is, but I said to somebody, she made a comment that, anyway, oh,
I think the big picture is anytime I'm a little confused or opinionated on something, I go back to what I've learned from Bob and what they got done 15 years ago, and that was the equestrian community. The people have been here 20 years, and Joe, and then Bob's just done a fabulous job of getting the architecture and the feeling. Look at the new, I've seen it, but today I went, the fire station and everything up there next to this building on 9 is truly beautiful.
Mhm.
And so what is the character that I moved here for, that Bob and Joe and those early city councils, and Robin, you've enforced for a long time. What is it? And I went through this when I built my barn guest house, and Robin sat down and just said, here's all the rules. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't put it here.
I'm the dream crusher. No.
Here's what you can do.
But that's the rules.
Yeah.
And it's the rules, yeah. So my point is, I'm not sure guest house out front of the plane, I agree with Robin, is really a good idea. A barn's cute, it's equestrian. It's not, once it's a guest house, what does it become? We see, drive down Mayfield, and there's some houses down there, small ranches, and they'll have 6 cars at midnight on the grass. So what do they become if they're in the front plane versus a barn?
Well, then you start getting into Airbnbs
I was gonna go to that.
and stuff like that, which
Which It's going to be discussed very soon.
Yeah, we're starting an initiative on that, so. to look at
And
that.
I know in Sandy Springs, they would never allow a barn in the front yard, but they're not an equestrian in rolling hills, and they don't have the no opaque fences because we want to see the long view. And all the numerous codes that over 5 years, people want to build solid walls, and they've told me, you guys are ridiculous. I want a solid brick wall. But if we started having, if you look at the old subdivisions with solid walls, we begin to look like Dunwoody, and, big thing with lights on top, and you don't look through all these fences and see. It's always fun for you to say your son drives by and always counts the deer in my yard.
Yeah.
But if that was an opaque fence, and then,
No, you just plant trees instead, like I did.
yeah.
People
Privacy
don't
trees.
know all my business when they drive by my house.
So anyway, there's a lot of good rules that are working.
They just drop drones instead and try to sell
Yeah,
my
right.
property.
Yeah,
Any old
seriously.
business?
Yeah, so no new business. The old business is, we've got some exciting last meetings for the district. If you want to attend, it's been advertised. You just sent us an email
Yep.
about it.
I saw it.
Thank you.
And so those are really great meetings that get this finalized. So those will be fun to see, council in action and also planning commission in action. So with that, can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, good meeting.